I wanted to give you some kind of title so you could find these stories, but unfortunately there are no titles for them. Okay, so you just have to do it the long way like I did and look for these stories. The first story I am going to start with is the China story. The China story is very popular. Okay, has died down, but it is popular. Okay, this is what happened. There was this Chinese village in a remote area. Okay, and some people go there and because they were looking for this creature. Unfortunately, the Chinese man told them that they probably wouldn't find Bigfoot there because of what had happened. So this is the short version of the Chinese village. Okay, Bigfoot did kidnap this girl. According to them, there are a lot of sources. He kidnaps the girl when she was walking out of the town, and I believe she was going to the field. Now it had been raining and it had been very muddy. Okay, so they had to go out and look for some food and hunt for some food. She was lucky that the village was still together. Okay, and people saw this creature grab this girl. We don't know the age. We're thinking she was young. According to him, she was young. So we're putting her like around 15 years old. Grab her and run with her. Okay, she starts screaming. The village people see this. They get angry. They get scared. You know the whole, and they go after Bigfoot. Now Bigfoot, according to them, could escape, but he didn't for two reasons. The first reason was he ran the wrong way. Had he run into the bush and downhill, like I guess he meant to do, okay, according to him, he would have escaped or at least gotten away and dropped the girl. But unfortunately, he ran with the open road. Now, because it had been raining, he gets stuck in the road, the path. The people then start catching up. At this time, he lets go of the girl, but it is too late. His heaviness, and he's just too heavy, and he gets stuck, and he knows it, and he's growling and doing everything. The girl escapes, and the people just come in and they kill it. And it was not an easy kill. I mean, according to him, they stoned the creature, they hit it with sticks, they stab it with knives. They did everything that was possible. Now you would think that they would how do you call it? Bury the creature, but they didn't, because according to them, had they not left the creature there or they buried the creature, they would have think that the other creatures, according to them, the other Bigfoots would have thought that they were weak. So they bring this creature out, which was about 9 feet tall, according to them. They bring it out and they just leave it on the side of the road. The first night it is moved. The second night it disappeared. Now, the reason many believe this story is because, number one, it makes sense. Number two, there's nothing added to it or taken it away from it. Okay, and number three, it is how an animal would react. At first, the village people thought that they had taken it to bury it, but according to many investigators and zoologists and people who study these animals, they took it because that was nutrients, and it had been raining for days, and they probably hadn't hunted for anything, so they took the body to eat it. And apes are known to be cannibalistic. I'm sorry to tell you that, but it is. And that is the first story that many believe to be a real kidnapping story. Now, why was she taking the girl? There's simple reasons that we already explained. You can use your imagination, but you don't really have to. The second story is about American. And this was here in the Americas. I believe it was. I want to say it was like near Michigan. In a way, there was a huge forest. People would go to it to play and everything, and one day, I believe the one of the children didn't come back, and they started looking for him and they couldn't find it. Of course, they get scared. They start calling people. The community gets together and they start looking for them. I believe they looked for him for about a day and a half. Um, but they didn't give up. They just went home. One day, and then the other was half, and then they tried a new technique. The story is mostly about the journey. It really isn't about the boy, but what is really fascinating is that when they found the boy, they found him in a tree. They didn't find him on the ground. And according to him, he was on in that tree for, I want to say, a couple hours, and he didn't want to come down. When the people found them and they brought him down, they calmed him down, they gave him to eat, and the reason they believe it is because the boy was calm. They hadn't screamed at him, or don't ever do that and stuff like that. They were just happy. They were hugging each other. He was happy. He was talking to his dad and all this other stuff. So one of the investigators, one of the one of the cops or sheriffs, uh, asked him why he was in the tree, why it was that when they called out to him, he didn't get off and run to them or anything like that. And he told them that he was afraid of the ape people who were playing on the ground. That they would look at him and they would hit the tree and run around and stuff like that. This really got everybody curious, that what was he talking about? Apes? There are no apes in America. But according to him, there were like two or three apes about his size, a little bit taller, some a little bit taller, some a little bit smaller, and they were playing around with him, which he thinks he was, but he was so scared that he didn't want to come off, and they would tap the tree, and they would play around, run around, do somersaults, and all this other stuff. So then they asked him, how long did they play with you? And they said, well, into they heard the voices and they disappeared. They ran away. So after all this, some of them took it for fact. Some of them thought he was just the imagination. Others, we all react differently. Um, he disappears. They disappear. They leave the area. I'm sorry, not disappeared. They leave the area, and a farmer, the next day, because it started raining, started drizzling, not too much, but enough to leave tracks. He said that he had found weird tracks. He says, and they looked ape-like, of the little knowledge that he knew. So these are the stories. This is why I believe that Bigfoot is not a kidnapper. It's very, very easy investigation to do yourself. Um, I really like this because